Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you all guys are keeping very, very well under extreme circumstances. And talking of extreme circumstances, with a man with extreme skin at the minute, it's good mate. It's a good mate of mine, which to be honest, I don't get to talk to as often as I'd like. Charlie Walsh, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right. I'm an elusive man. Not many people can get a hold of me. Yeah, I had an allergic reaction to some medicine or something, and so I've got spots everywhere. I've got a blocked up nose. I've got water. I've got water to help me through because I feel like it's going to go poorly. But apart from that, I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm good. Fair to middling, as the old saying goes.
Sure.
Right, so because first of all, before we go any further, guys, this live live conversation is sponsored by 3 Retro. Please click the link in the description below to buy the retro shirts, and any purchases you guys will make, the commission that the channel would normally get on the retro gear will be going to help Hyla's fight. To be honest, I haven't spoken to the company since Christmas, because obviously there's more important things to focus on at the minute. But if I do find out if we got any more sales, I'll obviously got to let you guys know and how much money we'll be sending over to them. But Charlie, first and foremost, mate, how's this lockdown affecting you and your family?
Do you know what? Like, it's a bit rough in London, obviously, just because there's 15,000 people in every square meter. But in reality, I mean, my life's not changed too much. I mean, I spend most of my time just sat here editing videos anyway. That's what I'm doing now. I've got like videos up the wazoo working for Hammer's Chat right now. One of which is coming out later tonight. Get hyped, 8 p.m. And yeah, I still go to the shops at the same time. There's just nothing bloody in. I go into Tesco and there's no water, there's no jam, there's just no anything really. Like, it's very frustrating in that context. But it's not too bad. It's probably get worse, but for now, could be worse, is what I'll say.
Yeah. In terms of how life is convenient in comparison to how things are going to be in the next few months, it is going to get worse for a lot of people, both in, obviously health wise for a few people, because it was interesting having a look at I know it's all stats and whatnot, and if Gio loves his stats and all that, but for me, when you're reading what the testing results are in terms of, because the Department of Health have actually been tweeting every day the amount of people they've been testing and the ratios between who's got it and who hasn't. It's a lot more people haven't got it than those that do. So I'm really, really happy from that side of things. But again, I really hope everything just gets put into perspective, because how we were kind of talking just beforehand, is this bloody microphone, every time I move it the cable flops out, and it's just not as annoying as it should be, because I say my mind's on higher things and everybody else's minds should be on higher things. But exactly as you're saying, mate. Apologies if there's any issues. My laptop's been screwing around all morning, so if either of us are moving like R2D2 and C3PO, apologies, but it does seem to be freezing every now and again. But yeah, it is ridiculous how people are reacting to this situation, in terms of you can't get toilet paper. People are using it was interesting watching the government broadcast earlier today. They said in the last 3 weeks there's been they estimate over £1 billion has been spent on in supermarkets in the last 3 weeks alone. So it just shows you how stupid people are thinking, because and it's to a degree it's understandable. I'm going to come to the end of this public broadcast in a minute, but it is understandable, because at the end of the day, especially it being broadcast last night or yesterday afternoon, I should say, that all pubs, clubs, restaurants, blah 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 blah, all that's going to close down. They didn't say continue going to the supermarkets. They didn't say continue going to the post office if you need it. They're just telling things. They're not giving people the bigger picture. But one of the funny things I've noticed, Sean, I don't know if you've seen this recently, but floating around on Twitter and social media in general over the last couple of days, is nobody seems to be buying Corona beer.
Well, I can't. Okay, not to spoil the video too much for later on, and I don't actually know if it's going to make the edit, to be fair. But
go on, live a little.
Okay, well, okay. So the video coming up, we've brought back one of your series. So I'm spending basically all my time editing right now. which is all I do anyway. I don't know why I'm saying that. That's anything different. But we've brought back an old series, and for it, the first guest is Jack Mate, who is a excellent YouTuber. If you don't know him, go and subscribe. But I believe he's drinking a Corona in that video. So it's not. There are at least some sales in Norwich and the Norwich area specifically. Everywhere else I can't mention. I don't know, but there specifically there are at least a couple.
And if YouTube is watching, there are other beers available, which everybody seems to be buying.
There's none other available. I went into the shop yesterday. There's nothing, John. There was nothing. Doesn't matter what it is, you're getting nothing. It's just I couldn't find it. Right, so I thought I'll get a pizza. I'm going to treat myself. I've done a lot of videos recently. I thought I'll get a pizza. It'll be grand. It's Friday. Have a ball or whatever. Went down. The only pizza there was gluten-free margaritas. And given the fact I have family who have celiacs and can't eat gluten, so they keep me updated on what good gluten food. They say to avoid the pizzas at all costs. So this actually, if anything, this is a public service account right now. Don't buy them. They're not good. They're not good. Even if you feel like you want a pizza, just order one. Do something like that because it's not. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Deliveroo and Just Eat are still working, so we'll be able to get food, guys. But as I say, just as we've all been saying, stop panicking. There's just no need for it. This is the time when the nation needs to be standing together. I know that's ironic because we've got to have social separation. We can't be 6 feet less than 6 feet closer to each other, and which makes queuing in the supermarket very difficult. Yeah. But we need to be there with each other. We need to remember what life's about and be there for each other, not just for ourselves. And because you never, as I said when I talked to Lena and the video that went up about the other teams that play in the Claret and Blue that went up yesterday, and also for the video, but both Charlie and I have done for Hammers Pulse talking about Snodgrass's new contract. Which we'll touch on a little bit in a minute. We need to be there for each other because you never know when you're going to need the help of somebody else. Just think about what you're doing. And just Corona beer is fine. There's no disease in it. Just drink it. It's fine. It's no different than. In actual fact, I never thought I'd ever say this, but it's better than Budweiser. Budweiser's terrible beer. So it's especially the UK version of it, anyway. But.
I'll take your word for that. I don't drink. I can't.
Yeah, I know, mate. This is probably the only podcast where both people are drinking and neither of us have got alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay, so because obviously last time Charlie you were on was during the summer, and we had transfers to talk about, but we haven't got any transfers to talk about because all the stuff that is in the news at the minute is complete bullshit. There's nothing going on. There's nothing West Ham related happening. Or so we thought.
Oh,
but there is
exciting.
But there is nothing. Team players aren't doing anything apart from training, and certain young men jumping curfew to play five-a-side with their best mates. I mean, nothing's really happening. But one of the funny things when I was watching the podcast that Luke and Paul did from the Three Hammers last night, because I wanted to talk to you about this because I know you're a big fan of this ridiculous sport, is that the WWE...
Listen, John, okay, listen. You need to stop this air quotes nonsense, okay? If you could run about for 20 minutes doing backflips, I'd like to see you try, my friend. I'd like to see you try. Actually, I would like to see you try. If you're struggling for content, there's an idea. Run around for 20 minutes, backflips. Darts about, mate. Listen, I think the people want it. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
You did, yeah. No, I mean, it was funny seeing that WWE is being played behind closed doors.
Quicker than the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of that, it's understandable to a degree because it's only it's like 2 people in it and whatnot. But yeah, apparently I don't know. I mean, Charlie, you probably ever tell me who it was, but one of the guys came out and still did his walk-on spiel, and there was nobody to react to.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to take this opportunity. All wrestling's basically cancelled right now, apart from Mexico. Mexico are going mad for it. Still doing full arena shows. Don't know what's going on down there. But yeah, everything's basically cancelled apart from WWE and AEW, who are the 2 big major American companies who have TV deals, and they're both doing it, like you say, behind closed doors, in front of no one. which is very, very weird. It's a bit similar to the thing is when you watch football behind closed doors, it's got that sort of like friend. It feels more like a friendly. Like it's like there feels like there's less intensity to it and all this stuff. But with wrestling, it's just different because you can see it's just there's no feeling there whatsoever. Like part of the joy of it is like the crowd and like Stone Cold shouting at the crowd. That's the whole thing. It's like The Rock, like the people, the millions. It's like there's a whole thing, right? Whereas now it's just a bit weird when there's no it's just nothing there. And it would the thing is with football, I think the right thing would be to do is to finish the mid-season behind closed doors. But with wrestling, it's a very weird prospect. It's a very weird prospect. If you're ever bored, check it out. Why not? I can recommend it. Tweet me. I'll give you some stuff to watch. But yeah,
there's fuck all else at the minute, really. I mean, with the exception of because I've been catching up on Star Trek Picard. I've been really enjoying that. That's been pretty cool. But other than that, there's not much else to watch. Just apart from going back and watching episodes of AVGN from like 8 years ago. Where when he's still got it, when James has still got hair for that matter. So
he's not got hair anymore. There's no hair. No hair anymore.
But you've touched on it about the whole closed doors thing. What do you think about Noble's U-turn? Do you think that's Noble, or do you think that's a club statement?
Probably club statement. What do you think?
I think it's hell the club hell for leather, because Noble never contradicts himself. He never comes out and says, actually, no, what I meant to say was this, which is exactly what he's done. And it's nothing more than, I mean, I get it at the end of the day, because club football needs to resume as quickly as possible, because it's people losing out on their jobs, losing out on money. So so I understand that. And I personally would rather see friendly style Premier League games than nothing. Of course, we'd have something more to talk about for one.
Yeah.
But it's just I'll be able to do my watch-alongs for all the home and away games. It'd be perfect for that. I'm missing doing that. It's been good fun doing that.
For you specifically, it'd be great. It'd be excellent. I mean, the thing is with this sort of the idea of doing it because of dangers with health stuff and that. To be fair, our defenders don't seem to be able to get within 2 meters of anyone anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. They'll be safe as houses. I don't know what the problem is here. It's not difficult. Yeah.
Especially when Masuaku and Creswell are playing. Jesus Christ, they never get near anyone. All right, so because obviously it was announced about a week ago now that the league was going to be pushed back till the end of April until the very earliest.
Yeah.
Charlie, what are your instincts on that? Do you honestly think that's an achievable target, or we're still going to be months off?
No, I don't think so. I think we're months off. I think realistically, this is only going to get more stringent, I guess is maybe the way to put it. And it's going to come around to that time. It'll get pushed back. They're setting a date just in case. But the truth is that it's never going to happen. We're looking at maybe I reckon late June. If the thing is, it all depends. For me, it all depends on testing, and if they can get the testing right and the testing frequent enough, then it might be a situation where they can just test all of the players and keep them in quarantine and then get them played behind closed doors in a short period of time. I've said this to other people, but I think we're looking at 9 games. We could do that in 6 weeks if you play 2 a game. That would probably be optimal, just to get the season done and out of the way and sorted, and then we can just move on with our lives. But that won't be until they can really fully test everyone, because there's no way they're putting, they're not as crazy as Vince McMahon. There's no way they are putting that many people on a pitch with coaches and everything else. I'd sort it out. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. It's the catch-22, isn't it? It's do they do it and risk it, even with the closed behind doors games as it is, or just we literally try and let the tide ride and just have it down to a certain level. But to be honest with you, mate, if it does happen, do you agree with what's been coming out the last day or so about this proposal for no relegation for this season?
I understand it, because I think that's probably their biggest problem. If they were to say just end the season or whatever, or under any circumstances, that's where they'll probably have the biggest problems. Because the thing is, you look at Liverpool and you say, okay, they're not going to win the league, but that's it. Like at the top of the table, there won't be many other problems in and around that. Whereas if a club went down, say, I don't know, us for example, if we went down and then we tried to sue the Premier League for loss of earnings because we went down because of this situation, I don't know how that would play out in court, given the fact that, you know, why we went down. But you could imagine that would be a huge problem. Three teams doing that, and the money in the Premier League is so large that the payouts they would have to deal with would be just gargantuan. So I understand why they're doing it, but it's just, again, I think just from a competition aspect, I think genuinely, to be honest with you, kind of my two options would be just play it behind closed doors, get it done quickly, and then just move on. Or I genuinely sort of think the null and void thing is maybe a good idea. I don't agree with the way she worded it, but I think there's maybe something to it.
Well, yeah, because nobody seems to agree with that, mate. Because including David Sullivan, because apparently he's just as fuming as the rest of us that she's had to backtrack on herself twice in the space of a week and a half. So, is this going to be the start of the end for the Viper, or the Viperess, I should say, for West Ham?
Nah. Nah. Listen, the board can do whatever they want, but they don't have any sort of bottle in any way, shape, or form. It's, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't even think she's that big of a problem. She's annoying. She puts out statements when she shouldn't. That's the biggest problem she has. But if she didn't have a Son column, I probably wouldn't have that much of a problem with her, to be honest. It's the people above her who set her job parameters that I have a problem with. And I don't think they would get rid of her. It would be who would come in. Who would come in? Because I think, to be honest, whoever would replace her would still have their same boss, would still have the same job remit, the same job specs, would still be going into this having to do the exact same things she would be. We just don't get a Sun column every week, which, don't get me wrong, is a big benefit, especially when it comes to specific situations, is a big benefit. But I don't think it's I don't think it would change West Ham's fortunes in any way, shape, or form, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, mate. But yeah, if she stops that column, then nobody would bat an eyelid. But it's self-promotion for her, and that's it. And it's just making us look bad, and it's also making her look bad, and she's too arrogant to realise. Now, you know, as we're talking about, you know, we're all trying to think up of new ideas to for content and whatnot. But the Millwall media team, really? Yesterday, saying this time 16 years ago they beat us in the, I think it was the Carling Cup game, I think, wasn't it, or something like that. I can't remember what the fixture was, but I was sitting there thinking, do you know what? I know there's nothing to talk about, but really, over a decade ago, to try and, because I know the club West Ham's website said on this day we beat blah 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 blah, but just out of nowhere, just completely like 16 years ago, we had this result over West Ham, and it's just like, really?
I mean, you know, they're my victories. You know, I don't find it. They've not got much. They've not got much, and I feel like we should just let them have it, and we just go, cool. Yeah, you did beat us. Congratulations. Enjoy it wherever league you're in now. I genuinely can't remember. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it was just it just, even Nicky when he retweeted it saying, yeah, I'm out on this one. But it's just there are better things to talk about, to be honest with you.
To be honest with you, I considered watching it. So, you know, just to see the boys back out there, Bobby's and more. Have my grand old time. I did consider it, but providing content for the people during these troubled times is fine. It's fine.
Exactly, I know, but it was just it was just funny. It just really did make me laugh. So if there's nothing else you can think of, you know, why not just try and do some replays of when you were trying to get into the playoffs a couple of seasons ago, you know, just, oh dear. But anyway, so yeah, because me and Charlie have submitted stuff for Ian at the Hammers polls, because obviously he's got Snoddy's got a new contract extension coming. Without giving too much away, Charlie, because obviously I don't want people to watch this and us talk about it and they don't watch the other video. Yeah. Are you quite happy with that idea?
Yeah, Yeah, I haven't actually recorded my video yet, so I'm still sort of thinking about what my actual opinion fully is. So this should help me. Yeah, to an extent. I think it's a weird time to do it because of everything that's going on. It's a weird time to discuss it. We don't really know what that's even going to mean season-wise, which is sort of why I'm sort of still mulling it over. In general, yeah, I'm happy for him to have another contract. I'm in no rush to give it to him. If we get to, I think we could run down his contract and then just go, do you want to stay? And then see what happens. I'd prefer him to stay. I think he's a useful player to have in the squad. He's on a lot of money, which although maybe not as much now as it was back then, just because of the rise in wages and stuff. But yeah, in general, I want to see him stick around. I'd like to see him stick around. I'd be in no rush to give him a contract, especially in these times. But I would like to see him stick around because I just think he's useful. I don't think he can. I don't think he's as good as he was out wide for obvious reasons. But even then, if last case scenario, put him out there, you're at least going to get 100% from whoever's in that position, and maybe some covering for the fullback, unlike a lot of our wingers. So yeah, I'd be for it in general. I'd be for it. But yeah, we'll see what I say on the video because I genuinely don't know yet.
I mean, without going into too much detail, what I said on the video, which will be going up Tuesday night on Hammer's Polls, subscribe to the channel. And the reason why I'm saying subscribe is because Ian said, right, when he gets to 100, he's coming on as a podcast guest. So I want him to get on as quickly as possible. So guys, please do check the account. They're very good videos anyway. But when I looked at it, it was 39 away from 100. So I'm sure we can get him to. I just got everybody that's watching this in the live and the replay to subscribe to it because I want to see if the man's going to put his money where his mouth is for one. He said, no, that's going to be at least a year. But seriously, with Snods, I think it's a good idea. For the same reasons you are, mate. There's that he kind of retires with us. We need him for his set pieces for sure. His corners and sometimes his free kicks as well. So, but I can see it. I can see the thinking behind it. Under normal circumstances, if the game was everything was running, the leagues were running as normal. Then yeah, our opinions would probably be completely different, as you're saying. But because we'd obviously see a bit more from him over the last few weeks.
The thing is like he's not the player he once was, right? He's not super fast anymore. He can occasionally dribble through people like a slippery eel, but not as often as he used to. But he is still a very good player. He's obviously very good at set pieces. He has got a good pass on him. He's not. Listen, I'm not going to call him Scottish Perler or anything like that, but he has a bit of that vibe about him where there's like no pace to his game whatsoever, but he still manages to create and do stuff. He shouldn't be starting. Realistically, he shouldn't be starting. My only problem is he's on wages that we sort of, in the tight financial situation we are in, and the even tighter financial situation we're about to be in. Yeah. His wages are kind of hard to stomach for someone who is not as effective as he once was and is not a guaranteed starter, but he is just super useful to have in the team because, like I say, he covers multiple positions and he will try 100%. Even if you're playing him out wide, he will try 100%. Like, so for me, it's probably a simple answer, but we'll see. I might change my mind by the fact I'm going to record it later after I've uploaded this Jackmate video. So we'll see what happens. I might change my mind by then. Who knows?
But also, don't forget that normal circumstances, when there's a 1-year extension, it normally means they've got a pay rise in some form or another. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same because obviously when Anatovic had it, he had his 1-year extension. He got his wages bumped up, but it's not necessarily the case. It could be just the fact that he wants to stay on for another year or 2 years, however long he wants to do. So I'm hoping on that. Now you've kind of shot yourself in the foot about complimenting Snoddy that how hard he tries and everything. So with the other player that does this similar role, what's your beef with Mikey because he does exactly the same thing and yet you don't like him? Okay, first of all, who are you talking about specifically? I want to make sure. Okay, cool. Right, let's get into this, boys. Everyone get ready. Everyone in the live chat, get ready because here we go. Here's the thing with Antonio. Okay, he can't pass, he can't shoot, and he can't cross. The man has the technical ability of me. It's a deepness beyond deepnesses. Now, the thing is, I really like him as a person. I've been lucky to meet him I've met him twice, 2 different times, for 2 different interviews. He's a very, very nice person. I think he doesn't try as hard as everyone thinks he does, especially defensively. He's basically non-existent at this point. When he first came into the team, he did. Like that first year, that boy
tried an insane amount, and I loved him for it. And when he was playing right back, and I was like, there was that one. I always remember it when I think about his work rate. I always remember. Do you remember at Upton Park last season? He's playing right back against Liverpool. He's gone all the way up the other end of the pitch to try and cross it, whatever. He's lost the ball, and Alberto Moreno, if you don't remember him, rapid. That was basically his only trait. His only trait was basically pace. But he went flying up the other end of the pitch, and Antonio tracked him all the way back and made an amazing last-ditch challenge. And I was like, whoa, what a man. What a man. But that's the problem. That is, he's only just what a man. He's got no technical ability. This season, I think he's much more vital than I have done in previous years. I've come around on the Hammers Chat Patreon. Myself and Ray Borum, who appears in random videos every now and then, we do a podcast together called Two Spanners, One Hammer. Check it out if you're a Patreon, or subscribe to the Patreon. Pow, pow, pow. And I actually complimented him a lot. I said if there was one player I wouldn't let go this summer, it was probably him, because he's just too annoyingly effective and too important to the squad to let go. But he's just not good. He's just not good. Like, the man, like, how important has he been for us this year? Like, how vital has he been for us this year? And what's he got? 1 goal? I mean, how many times does he get the ball, shoot from outside the area, and it goes into Rosette? I don't know. You tell me, because it's a lot. But yeah, that's my beef with Mikel Antonio. I love him though. He's a lovely man. He's a lovely man.
Just can't stand what he does.
I just, it's just frustrating when like against Arsenal, for example, I wanted him off. I was like, he kept running into these alleyways and just running off the pitch, and it just wasn't happening for him. And I was like, we should sub him off at half time. But I looked at the bench and I was like, there's just no one anywhere near as effective as him on the bench. We can't sub him off because of that. And that's the thing with him at the moment, is he's just too important to the team. But as a footballer, he's infuriating. He's utterly infuriating.
But having said that, how vital is he to the team for certain things? For example, if he hadn't had those handballs towards the end of last year, he would have in what, 5-6 goals now?
Yeah, but if my mum had balls, she'd be my dad. It's like
let's not go down the Millwall conversation, mate. Come on.
No comment. But these are the things, isn't it? These are just the things that happen. He is super vital. That's why I said on the podcast that I wouldn't. He's probably one of the few people I wouldn't let go. I would, if the right price came in for him, obviously I would. But he's just too important. He's too. As bad as he is when he gets into good positions, he's at least getting into those positions consistently. And he offers us something that we don't have, especially up front. He offers us something we don't have. I think Ajeti, I want to see more, because I want to see what he can offer, because I just don't know at this point. But yeah. If you want any more hot takes on Antonio, I've got them for days. But yeah, he is what he is.
I mean, that's fair enough, mate. I mean, I know what you mean. That I've been very, very infuriated with him over the last few seasons, but he is vital to the team. So we've got to kind of grin and bear it. I love him for how hard he tries, but you're right. His pace isn't brilliant, other than when he's trying to take 2 or 3 players on at once. His ball control is just worse than mine. And talking of his ball control as well, he's even got bad ball control on FIFA as well last night, because he had apparently, from looking at what people were talking about, he only had 1 shot on target when he got beaten 2-0 by Ryan Sessegnon last night. So
you didn't watch it, John? Is that not your Friday night entertainment?
It's as fun as it is watching that stuff. It just doesn't appeal to me. I'm not a FIFA generation boy. I was an adult by the time that stuff came out. Well, properly anyway.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Boomer, calm down, bro. Let's just
but just to clarify something that Co has asked in the chat. I'm watching it, by the way, guys. Great to everyone for talking in. Co, Fed is saying Patreon for this channel, that could be good. Co, there is a Patreon set up for this channel. It's not all that much at the minute, to be honest with you, because I'm still trying to figure out a few things for it. If you want to help, by all means, there is a link in the description for the Patreon account. It's very, very basic stuff at the minute. It's mostly just it's like $1 a month gets you a shout out for every week, and it's very, very basic things. But there will at some point, once the audience gets a bit larger. So subscribe if you haven't already. once a lot audience gets to a lot larger audience than it is, and the views are starting to get up, then more and more stuff is going to be coming out, which is the reason why Hammers Chat have got more things on the Patreon now, because there's a bigger audience. And likewise with Nikki and West Ham Fan TV, their audience is huge, so that's why they're doing stuff on their Patreon. So once there's more people on this channel, and more people are buying the merchandise, again, link in the descriptions, then obviously there will be definitely exclusive stuff coming up. One of the things that I want to do on the Patreon account is to have a month. I actually might, if we hit decent numbers, because there's bugger all signed up there at the minute. If we hit decent numbers, I might start doing a weekly Q&A purely on Patreon, where we have 4 or 5 different patrons coming on asking questions. But as it stands at the minute, there's bugger all, so there's no point trying all that stuff yet. But the bigger the audience gets, the more stuff there definitely will be. Now, obviously, we're talking about players that we would like to see retire, because we talk about Snodgrass, and there's probably a very, very good chance that Antonio could retire with us if nobody else buys him, because he's still on quite a long contract. But apparently there's been mutterings around that Ogbonna could see out his football career with us. How are you thinking about that, Charlie?
I wouldn't reject it point blank as like an idea. I don't think. The thing is with him is I'm not convinced he's so. How do I word this? Those things. You've had these ideas where something's in your head, but you've never worded it out loud. So I'm trying desperately to word it in a way that won't infuriate everyone. He's obviously played 4 years so far, mate. But you're not wrong, my friend. You're not wrong. Yeah, you're right. So why do I care? I think he's not consistent. He has been consistent this year. He's been very, very good this year. There have been very few games where I've gone, oh, he should have played better. I think he's been brilliant this year, and I think he's been brilliant at other times. But before this year, he hasn't been. I don't think he's ever really been full-on consistent. There have been times where he's been very good, and there have been times where he's been god awful, and that kind of concerns me. What concerns me is that I'm afraid that I'm thinking of it in a recency bias way, and I'm going, oh, he's great because he's been great recently. And I don't want to fully, I go through this like rounds of thinking where it's like, oh, he's really, really good. Oh, why is he in the team? Oh, he's really good. And that's just being a fan, to be fair. But I just don't want to be fully concerned of the recency bias basically thing. But if he was, I don't know what his contract situation is at all, to be honest with you. But I do like him, and to be fair, it's not like I'm saying I would sell him, because I wouldn't. Even when he's at his most inconsistent, he's still a very good player to have in the team. I mean, for someone we bought for, what was it, 7 million from Juventus of all people, I think he's been a great signing. And I'd be very happy. I want to see him here for the longer term, to be fair. It's just something that's been playing on my mind, and I haven't worded it out loud. And I don't think I've particularly done it very well here either. But there we go. I've said it now.
I was going to pick you up on what you were saying, but I had to let you talk to get your message.
Pick me up. Come on, bring it. Let's go. Oh. Come on, go. Lay it out.
I mean, I agree with you, mate. Ogbonna's been stellar this season. He really, really has. It's not that much of a praise, bearing in mind how poorly the squad's been playing over the season, but out of everybody, he was the handful of players that has been really putting his neck on the line, game in, game out. Personally, I think his best football was at the Bowling, and also the first season when we were at the London Stadium, and then when it was reported that he had that back injury. And then once he had the surgery, he was bitty shit after that, to be honest. So maybe he needs an injury to play well. I don't know, but he, I do think he should. There's not many players we can keep hold of, but Ogbonna is definitely one of them. Cover, I know you've been trolling in the conversation, but my name isn't Ian, it's John. As you can see from down here where it says my name here. He's got himself confused because we talk about Ian at Hammers Polls, and he's trying to figure a few things out.
My name is, of course, #RecallBigJords. I have now transferred from American Hammers to here, and I will continue to push it until we #RecallBigJords. Thank you. Carry on.
Thank you very much, mate. Thanks for your permission.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, where are we? Okay, so I wanted to just change the mood slightly because it's been quite a fun conversation. But have you seen Talksport's website earlier today? Have you had a look at that yet? I came across this earlier. It was one of the funniest articles I've seen for a while. So I wanted to share with you guys. Actually, let's do it. So yeah, they've basically done a Premier League table ranked on each club's locality to the shop Greg's.
Okay, now I'm interested.
It was brilliant. It absolutely cracked me up. And funnily enough, let's go without all their waffle.
We've got a couple. We've got one. There's the one in there's the one in Westfield. We've got the one in Stratford City. There's a couple there. A couple close.
So the relegation prospects are Brighton are the furthest away with 4.8 kilometers away from it.
I will say this: I went to Brighton last year. Couldn't find a Greg's, and that's important to my life when I go places.
So 4,880 meters. Spurs 1,660 meters away from McGreg's. Man City 1,370 meters. Some people have got some better things to do, surely. But
bro, listen, we're in times like these, John, where the true heroes come to play, and it's whoever wrote this article. What I'm going to say is actually before you go further down, I wonder if we're quite low down because of just how isolated the stadium is.
Well, wait and see, sunshine. Wait and see. So Aston Villa 1,370 meters from Villa Park. Carrow Road, Norwich is 1,090. Anfield is 1,060 meters away. Southampton 878.88 meters. Really pulling it down. Bournemouth's Vitality Stadium 866.25 meters. Leicester City's King Power Stadium 844.99, so 1 meter under 840. Not even that. What was it? It's like one, isn't it? No, that'd be like 1 centimeter.
1 centimeter,
away from being. Turf Moor 788.08 and us 752.67 meters. So mid-table.
Mid-table. I'll take that. I've got a question. Is that walking distance or is that as the crow flies? You know, I want to know this. I want to know, is this like straight? Like, I suspect they've done it on Google Street View because of the situation at hand. But possibly, is it walking distance or is it, you know, these are the important questions that I need answered on this day.
Where is it? I know it did say it briefly. Whereas doesn't actually look like it says, so I'm guessing it's just literally as Google Maps says it.
Someone on Reddit did it. Okay, I'm going to look into this after, John. I'm not. I've got a video to edit, but after that.
Well, just in case your employers are watching.
Just in case people, like, I don't know, who are subscribed to the Patreon or something else are watching for Sheezy, then I promise for Sheezy I'm doing that work first before checking Reddit. But yeah.
So Old Trafford's closest Greg's is 741.88 meters away. Watford's Vicarage Road 607.14. Chelsea Stamford Bridge 545.57 meters.
For West London, that's surprising.
Yeah. Crystal Palace even closer, even though it's a shithole. 534 meters and 0.39. Bramall Lane 514.65. Molineux 440.71. Emirates 377.72. And where are we? So the top two is Goodison Park with 230.46, and no surprises not being rooted to the Geordie faithful, but 1111 meters 0.92.
Well, it's the home of Greg's. I've got a question for you, John. When you're going Greg's, what are you buying? What's the important? You've rocked up the 800 and whatever meters it was. What are you buying? These are the important questions that need answered. What are you getting?
Well, what I would like to get is peas pudding and stocky bread, but they don't do it down here, which is
very northern answer. I enjoy that.
Yeah, which I that's having a Mackham side of the family. It was lovely to, and yeah, they obviously in Newcastle and the surrounding areas they do it up there, but they don't do it down here, which is really irritating because it's bloody nice stuff. But normally when I go on the very rare occasions that I go into Greg's, normally when I'm too drunk to try and figure out how to cook properly, it's not. I normally have a large sausage roll. No jokes. Darren in Bangkok's in the group chat, so I'm sure I'm just saying him now. No jokes. Or a pasty. To be honest with you, that's
what pasty? Come on, John, you're depriving the people of information here, John. What pasty?
Cornish pasty, or as they call it down in Cornwall, it's a pasty.
A pasty. A pasty. Okay. Okay. See, this is
I
what
would,
I'll say. I appreciate it. You need to get a cham involved, a cheese and a ham baguette. I'm telling you, you need to get a cham involved. Bro, not with that attitude. You can do it. You can do anything you want. Believe, John. Believe.
Mate, I'm not gonna hide it. I am lactose intolerant, so I can't have normal cheese. I'm not gonna go into Greg's and ask them for a ham and lactose-free cheese. Greg, no way.
Why not, John? Come on, live a little. Now is the time. Go to Greg's to see what they'll say. If you find one open, that is. I don't know if there's any open right now, but apart from that, the one near me is just shut down, so I've had a bad time for me personally. But there we go.
But yeah, no, I was reading that this morning, and it just absolutely creased me up that even on this, we're still mid-table. It was brilliant. Right, so getting back to West Ham topics, as funny as that was, what are your thoughts about Moyes saying we shouldn't be signing any more than anyone over 25?
Yes is the answer. The thing is like there's obviously a place for older players in the squad. There always will be. I think there's also a place for older signings. But in general, that should be our policy. I don't think we're in as privileged a position as say any of the Red Bull teams, Leipzig, Salzburg, whoever, who have a policy of basically 25 and under only. They will never sign anyone over that. I don't think we have quite that luxury. But I would prefer that to be. I just think it's the right way to go. We need to grow we need to grow players, and realistically, like in a situation where we don't have that much money, we need to essentially buy people to sell them. To put it as simply as that. I don't want to see that happen, obviously regularly. But say we sell Fornals in 2 seasons for 40 million, 50 million. Then all of a sudden the 20 million outlay seems like nothing, and then we can go buy 2 Fornals. We can go and do that, and that's something that. As much as Chelsea's youth system annoys me and frustrates me the way they deal with stuff, them just getting people in, loaning them out, growing them, and then selling them for twice the profit. I mean, is twice, and 3 times, 4 times.
Arsenal have always done that as well.
Yeah, it's a system that works for a reason. So I am for it in general. I just think our scouting needs to be significantly better if that's the route we're going to go in. And by significantly better, I mean more than one man.
I was going to say, not to sound too much like Gonzo, but we need a system first.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's a twonk in the chat. So I'm not gonna show his. I thought he was a decent person, but he just started off being an absolute bellend. Yeah, I think it's in general, yeah, under 25s is the way to go, because we need to stop bringing in journeymen. We've said it time and time again as supporters over the years, not just on YouTube, but just in general.
Yeah,
we need to stop bringing in players that only want to come in for the paycheck. Now, there is obviously an argument that when you're a youngster, they're still coming for the paycheck anyway. All that stuff that was going around towards the end of January about Bowen and the wages thing and all that sort of stuff. But whether that's true or not is another matter. But yeah, we need prospects. And we've got prospects to a degree. You know, we've got Rice, we've got still Dion Garner, we've got Ben Johnson, we've got Jeremy Ngakia, we've got Grady Dion Garner as well. So we've got players that we can bring in for the future. I mean, when was the last time we had this amount of youngsters? What was it, James Collins and Tompkins days?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, there was that generation under Zola and Kerbesley where we had like Sears, Zavonhine, Stanislas, Tompkins all in the team around about the same time. Noble all are in the team around the same time. That's probably the last time, off the top of my head, I think. Yeah, no, it's good. It's the right way to go. It just makes sense in every single way, shape, or form. To be honest, it just makes sense.
Yeah. This person is now blocked from the channel. And Darren, can you just make sure he's blocked as well, please? The bald nonce. I said, I think as a club we have to focus on players with a high ceiling or potential. Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
thanks.
I do.
Thanks for commenting there, Post Cheesy.
I do. He's a legend. I agree with everything for Cheesy says forever, no matter what. Yeah, I agree. I think if we're spending our time the thing is, like I say, there are room for older players. Like Snodgrass is an example of an older player who makes sense to have in the team. I think Ogbonna is another good example of an older player who in the team. Who else? Like I thought Fonte was a good signing. I thought Fonte played well for us. I know not everyone agrees with that, but I do. But I think we should. That's just the way we should be going forward. There is a balance to be had. I said this on American Hammers recently, but the right back argument. I know a lot of people are talking about the idea of maybe getting rid of Fredericks and just having Johnson and Ngakia. And as much as I like that idea, I would prefer to keep, say, Ngakia, loan out Johnson, and then have a senior seasoned pro in that position. But that's my sort of like balance thing. I think there's a balance to be had. But in general, we should be putting way more focus. And to be fair, we've got a relatively young team right now. Thanks to Pellegrini, to be honest. We've got a relatively young squad. You're looking at Fornals, you're looking at, Haller is only 25. Anson's relatively young. We've got a core group of top tier younger players who should hopefully grow. Hopefully, if Moyes can do his job right.
Agreed. And it was lovely to watch that video with Zabaleta and Ngakia going through the movements that he did on the Liverpool game, and how much of how impressed Zabaleta was. And I honestly think that was a genuine two guys really respecting and loving each other for the game, and it was beautiful to see. But you're right, we do need a pro in there. But there's a very, very good chance that Ngakia could be that if we get to see the Premier League again at some point.
I mean, by the time it starts, he might be a seasoned pro at that point. He might be 34.
Exactly. We just never know. All right. So far, all right. So because we've played pretty much 3/4 of the season so far, mate. If it is done, whatever happens, and if it's taken as read now that the league positions stay where they are, West Brom and Leeds come up, and that's it. We have a 22 place league, or whatever happens. Who would you be? Who is getting your Hammer of the Year?
It's an interesting question. Probably it's between Bonner and Rice, probably. Which is weird to say that two defenders would be up for it given the horrendous situation we're in, but probably those two. I'm trying to scout. You say who yours would. Let me just scour my memory for a second and think about it. Who would yours be?
Mine's Ogbonna, hands down. Rice, very, very close, very, very close behind that. But yeah, just for consistency across the season. It is for me. It is Ogbonna. I know a lot of people are saying, well, why not Fabianski? And he's been brilliant. He has been brilliant. I'm not going to deny it, but unfortunately, he hasn't played as many games this season. I don't think it's fair to judge to judge for a Hammer of the Year if they haven't played at least 2/3 or but at least half of the season, and Fabianski hasn't. I mean, we were saying Ogbonna of the Hammer of the season right from the start of the season. He's just been absolutely immense.
Yeah, it's for me. It's got to be those two. I can't think of anyone else. Like you say, Fabianski has been great when he's been here, apart from 1 or 2 games. But again, he's been injured the entire time, or was injured for a significant chunk of time. So that's something that should be considered. There are some other people like Snodgrass has had a very good season, but I wouldn't put him up there. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult because obviously the season's just been cut off when a couple of people look like they might be coming into their prime. Socek, Bowen, people like that look like we were stepping up a gear. But yeah, it probably Ogbonna at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Darren's said a statement a little bit earlier, which I've only just read. So apologies, mate, for not putting it up earlier. But he's asking you a little bit of a question.
Is this? Can I just ask? Is this the Darren who lives in Bangkok?
Yeah.
I listen, mate. And I'm speaking to you personally now, Darren. I don't know how I'll get there. I know some people, maybe they can get me out, but we'll see what happens. And if she's here, then yes, of course. I'm all about it. The boy provides. That's what I'll say. But yeah, I don't know if I can get there. I don't know if I can get there right now. I'll be real with you. I don't know if the travel policies will allow that currently.
Ben's asked quite a cool question, actually. Meat pie or apple pie?
Ben, first of all, hello. Nice to speak to you. What do you think about Raw at the moment? Secondly, meat pie. I do like an apple pie. It's very good. I prefer an apple strudel. Okay, That's prime apple territory if we're talking baked pudding type things. I'm gonna go with a strudel, but in general, meat, ideally, Fray Bentos steak and kidney. But John, what's your opinion? I want to know what are you saying. What's your
for
vibe?
meat or apple? It's meat, 100%.
What meat
Meat
pie
pie.
are you talking specifically?
Yeah, I would over the two. I would. Apple strudel, yeah, is lovely. Don't get me wrong, but you can't have apple strudel without custard, as far as I'm concerned, or
Listen,
ice cream.
I strongly agree with that. I put both in because you know your boy is obese. I put both in. But what I will say is this: Fray Bentos steak and kidney, most other things in life. That's the tier list. If we're tier listing them, S tier, that everything else can go underneath. I am on.
Yeah, and that's the problem because lactose-free ice cream isn't nice. So I don't have that. So I used to be able to have ice cream and custard and all that, but up until about 10 years ago, my stomach said you're not having this anymore. So that's more for me now. I mean, I love apple pies, but it's choice out of the two is meat. 100% all the time.
I appreciate it, Ben. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Ben's normally quite spot on with a few little things like that. But guys, we are still getting some people who think they've got nothing, clearly got nothing better to do than try and call me certain names. So they are being excluded from the chat. Just to let you know, guys. Okay, so where are we? There's something else we need to talk about. Where is it? Yes, right. So coming to the more business end of the video. So guys, keep putting your comments, your questions in for Charlie. It'd be interesting to see what else you guys want him to answer.
Before he does the what one said. Just bring it.
I was going to say before he does the whap, but he's done it already.
I haven't said no, but if you want me to, okay, guys, ask questions specifically that will allow me to say the word whap. I will say the word whap significantly. and that's all I'm going to say from now on. John, please continue. I will now be talking about whaps. Just so you're
Whaps or baps? Oh,
whaps all day. Listen, baps are great in any context, but I'm saying whaps for days. Whaps all day, all night. Just big whap.com. Bro, we're all out here. whap.com/big whaps. Let's go.
I can always tell when you've been up quite early, mate, because your videos when they go up are hysterical. It's like this man's clearly tired.
You can tell the later it is, the more I say the word whap. Which is why I haven't said it yet. But now you've unleashed the beast, John. It's just gonna happen now. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's bad.
Talking of which, Ben's saying post him there with first class stamps. He's talking about you going over.
I think the shipping costs would be expensive for. I wouldn't want to carry me to the post office. But if someone wants to do it, listen, I'm up for it. I'll take a luggage class trip to Bangkok. Why not? Let's go. We can talk about. We'll talk about Thai curry and that. I can't speak to it, but maybe he can show me the way.
Yeah, because that was the question Darren asked you last time. If you were red or green Thai man.
Exactly. I'll listen. As I still don't have an answer.
I was going to say that's the question. Have you had any of them since the last time you were on?
I have not.
For shame, dear boy. For shame.
It's not going to happen in the next couple of months because there's no way. But what I will say is this:
you're still doing things, mate. So you might be able to get them out.
Darren, I will come and we will discuss the Thai green and the Thai red curry and all that, and you can show me the way, teach me the ways. I'm up for it. We'll do a video about it. That's fine.
Well, Faux Chezzy's actually asked the question I was going to ask you as well. Can you tell everyone about Recall Big Lords? What is it?
Okay, so listen, there is a man, the savior, the biggest don of them all, Major Waps, as I'm calling him now. In time. Okay, his name is Jordan Hugel, and it is very important. I would go as far as to say it's perhaps the most important thing happening in the world right now, that we recall Big George, hashtag recall Big George. Jordan Hugel needs to come back. He's out here, QPR, doing bits. He never got to walk out in front of the bubbles. These are important things that we just need to bring it to the world. John, we need to bring it to the world, okay? Listen, I know you can play guitar. I'm feeling maybe a Live Aid type thing going on. Recall Big George. This is what I'm seeing, John. This is what I'm seeing. You can say no, I feel like you can, but I'm just saying, hashtag recall Big George. There's a Z, that's important. Just getting back, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now as a club if he was here. We would have whacked him in all day outside the boot techers. Bosh, top bins, no messing. What a man. And he's just out here at the darts and stuff. No, should be up front for West Ham. Let's go. That's what Big George.
To be honest, mate, he's probably got a better chance of starting over than Yeti is, that's for sure.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I feel really bad for Yeti because he's not had the chances. He hasn't had the chances. He had what, 4 appearances? Most of those were in the cups. So to be fair, it's it's this is an interesting one, Ben. This is what I'm telling you about with Ben and his questions. Saying Gonzo or Gio, who would you rather spend time with in isolation? Go on, son.
Okay, Ben, you're screwing me here a little bit. I'm not gonna lie about it, Ben. Let's think about this logically. Probably Gio, and I'll say why. I feel like Scotland is more isolated, so in these times it's probably a better thing. I feel like where Gio would live would be more isolated than Berkshire or London, so that's probably an answer. But do I want to deal with Gio all the time? That's probably a no. Gio, if you're watching this, I don't want to deal with you all the time. So maybe Gonzo. I'll stick to my original answer. I'll say Gio. But Gonzo does have the man cave, and I could just be in the man cave all the time. But I don't know what his heating situation is like in the man cave. These are the things. Do you know what we need? A table. Who is closer to a Greg's? Okay, Gio, if you're watching this, Gonzo, if you're watching this, can you please tell me by meters exactly how far you are? Whoever is closest, I'm coming to yours. I'm coming to yours.
Oh, that's a good one, actually. I do quite like that question.
Who would you rather be in isolation with? Come on, John.
To be honest with you, I can't say because I don't know him well enough.
That's not an answer, John.
I can't. I don't know.
Sit on the fence here. You need to answer.
I'm not sitting on the fence. I've only met him a few times. I don't know.
Yeah, you've met him a few times. Listen. No, John, you're answering the question. Stop sitting on the fence. Who would you rather being in isolation with?
If I had to choose out of the two, probably Gonzo.
Okay.
Because of the man cave.
Fair enough. There you go. Fair enough, Gio.
But I don't know. I could probably end up killing both of them, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I don't know him well enough. I've not had a chance to talk to them properly.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, it would be quite cool to. I can't believe you were thinking about the heating solution, man. Come on.
Bro, listen. What? These are the things I'm thinking logistically. It's like, who would you get stuck on a desert island with? You've got to think logically about these things. You can't just be lobbing out. Listen, I'm cerebral. If there's one word people have used about Charlie Walsh, it's cerebral. Okay, so I'm thinking about. How dare you, sir? How dare you? How dare you? I'm a genius. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. So where are we? Brian Williamson. You said you got. Here we go. Is his question? Welcome, Brian. Good to see you.
Ooh.
Who is your favourite wrestler of all time?
It's a good question, Brian. Nice to see you. I am gonna go with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, right, has been unbelievable at every stage of his career. Pre-WWE, WWE, post-WWE, back to WWE, even now, post-retirement, return from retirement. He has always been incredible. Doesn't matter whether he's on the mic, in the ring, at commentary, talking about bears. The man is a legend and will continue to be so. He's thinking about retiring now. That's a very sad thing for everyone involved because he's just top tier. Also, gold dust. But mostly we'll stick with D-Bry, the American Dragon.
Cool. So showing my age there. So for those that don't know what he means by pre-WWE, it means WWF.
Wildlife Fund. I don't know what you're talking about, John.
Okay, so going back to West Ham questions quickly, guys, still keep your questions coming in. They're brilliant. But okay, so who for you, out of the current squad, who remains for next season?
The most important ones for me are Rice. There's a few people like Noble. Noble's just not going to get sold, but Noble is very important. Rice would, out of the people who would potentially get sold, Rice would have to stay. Haller would have to stay. Fornals would have to stay. Trying to think who are the actual full-on building blocks. Ogbonna, obviously. Diop, I think, should stay, to be honest. Yeah. And they're the ones that be sold. Fabianski. I'm just sort of naming the all of the players now at this point. But yeah, there's a couple of like the people, for example, like Haller, right? I know a lot of people are 50-50 on him, but I think if we get the best out of him, then we jump up significantly. And the times where he has played at his best, or we've got the best out of him, it has been unreal. So I think like there's people like that who most people say who I think should stay. There's people like Fornals who everyone loves. So I'm just saying because please the people. I'm a people pleaser. I get those cheap pops. But yeah, there you go. What about you?
Okay, so to be honest with you, it's not that far off. Keeping Fabianski, keeping Ngakia, keeping Ogbonna. Diop, I'm still in two minds about, because he has great moments, he has bad moments as well. He's having a lot more bad moments at the minute. Definitely getting rid of Masuaku. Definitely get. Which will come on to the next question in a minute, actually, because I'm going to ask you who leaves in a second, but I'm going to answer both of those now. So, Creswell and Masuaku absolutely gone. Noble stays. Fornell stays. Where are we? Antonio stays, regardless of how you're thinking. Snodgrass stays. Allaire stays, because you're right, 100%. I think we see the best of him. Once when we've got other things around, but decent players around him, and we've got decent players around him. Which is the squad still is slightly better balanced than it was, but it's not balanced enough. Bowen, I want to see stay. Souček, I want to see stay. Noble, as I say, I want to see stay, and Lanzini is going for me. I'm afraid he really, really is going. So, who else for you is going to leave at the end of the season? If you had the choice,
people I would sell Lanzini. I don't know how much we'd get for him, to be fair, but I think he still has the aura of a player who has the cachet, which could get a bigger money move than is maybe necessary at this point. Although the thing is, if he comes back into play, then maybe he does get great, and that's probably what you play on if you sell him. But Lanzini, who else has definitely gone? Masuaku can just go. Doesn't really bad. Just whatever, man. Just just go do your thing wherever. I'm trying to think logically in terms of who I feel like it can just be cut from the squad as well. Yarmolenko can go. I think he's very effective. But A, he's injury prone all the time. B, he's on huge wages. And C, I would rather see Dean Garner in that position, so he can go. Yeah, they're probably the main ones. I do think it's gonna be a summer. It's going to be a next transfer window whenever that happens, where we have to sell to buy. So I suspect we might see some large departures. And there's people like Lanzini who just, although Moyes loves him, he's not as good as Fornelson. So
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, do you know what? I completely forgotten about Yarmolenko. I know that me and Lena, who was in the chat earlier, she did say hello quickly. We did talk about Yarmolenko, and I do like the bloke. I do like him, but you're right. He's too injury prone. He hasn't. His wages are too huge. And yeah, we've got better players in that position. Agreed, 100%. Talking of which, actually, there was a very, very good joke that a mate of mine sent me the other day, saying the missus went out and promised me that she wasn't panic buying in when she went to Tesco's, but she came back and we found Andy Carroll on the sofa.
Bring him back. Bring him back in his big man bun. I miss him. Get him. I just want him about. I just like seeing him when he comes on the subs bench and he's like all big and what a man. What a man.
Yeah, I mean, he gives his all 100% all the time, and I love him for that. But yeah, it was just too injury prone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So right, so this is a question. Now I know this is coming from a genuine person because because Brian's spelling is perfect. It's not a teenager saying, "I've heard you're a nonce. Can you confirm or deny?" What? I can't confirm or deny if you've heard it or not because you probably read it. But Brian, as far as I know, no, I'm not a nonce. I'm straight as an arrow, for one. But yeah, that seems to be floating around a lot recently. Okay, so Charlie, do you want to?
Seems to be floating around recently. That's sorry. Carry on. What did you say? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to confirm or deny that I'm a nonce?
I can't personally speak to it, John. I can say I've never witnessed it live. I can say that. I can't confirm or deny it. It's been floating around recently. King nonce and all that. I don't know, my friend. I don't
know. Where is it? There's another question. Ben's making a good point here. Says Lanzini can go be a water boy for Messi, in his opinion. And Darren says, yeah, agrees with us. You know, Souček before anyone jumps on my back. I get a Gonzo torrent of abuse for not pronouncing his name properly. I wish I had that bigger audience. I tell you.
I mean,
yeah.
to be fair, there's a difference between saying Souček and then saying Paulo Fornals. They're very. I mean, that's not even the same player. So
Okay, so for you, because I know
Yeah.
this question's been up in the air in over the last few weeks and months. Who's your captain for next season, whenever that's going to be?
Club captain or playing on the pitch captain, because they're two different things. Club captain will always be Mark Noble for me, and I would and to be honest, I know a lot of people are talking about whether or not he's done. I did do a video on it, which got very well received, which is a lie. I did do a video about it, and I still think he's very good. He obviously, when he's bad, he is a huge detriment to the team, but when he is good, he is a bloody baller. And I would genuinely, I want him to retire here. Maybe it's the sentimentality, but I want him to retire here. But on the pitch, if he's not playing, I think Cresswell does a good job at it. I think that the thing is, right, everyone talks about Rice, and I 100%, 1000% get it. I do. I really do. My concern is that I just don't want to put him under more pressure than he's already under. I think he's playing so well right now, and he's in a flow that I don't want to lob responsibilities at him. The longer time goes on, the more convinced I am at the idea of him being able to do it. But I don't want to do it at this stage. It's too early for me. It's a sink or swim thing, and I don't want to put him in a situation where he can sink. I just want him to grow and be nourished in that sense. Nurtured, not nourished. Nourished is eating. Nurtured is growing. There we go. See that? I studied English language. Waps. So for me, I think there's a couple of people. I think it would be a rotating thing, but Noble is the captain and forever will be. And whenever he's on the pitch, he should have the armband. But outside of that, Snodgrass probably, Cresswell probably. Rice can have it on the odd occasion, I guess. They're the big ones. What about you?
I disagree with Cresswell. I don't think we play well when he's a captain.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I know your reasons why. For me, club captain is Noble, 100%. And I did say this for vice captain when Noble's not on the pitch, it is Rice for me. But having said that, because that's what I said for the Hammers Polls video when that went up last week. So a week before last, because I should say. I wouldn't mind seeing Ogbonna as permanent captain, but I don't think he can cope with it. That's the thing, because he'd be too busy focusing on himself and sorting the back four out than trying to motivate other players around him. I don't think he's capable of it. Captain in his last season, probably I would do, but it is a very difficult question to ask because everybody is nobody's a better captain than Noble as it stands at the minute. And you're right, it's too early for Rice. Let's not forget this is what his third season now. His second full season, something. Yeah. So it's not the right time to put it in. It's certainly not the right time for all this talk about Souček being captain next season.
I get it, but yeah, it's too early. We don't even know he's going to be here next season. We don't even know how his contract situation is going to play out in the summer and see what happens. So it's a bit too early for that, although I do see the logic behind it. But yeah, the thing is with us is that we've not got any. Right now, I'm not 1,000% certain what our best starting 11 would be next year. And so it's very difficult to pick someone who is a replacement for Noble in that sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. So that comes on to the last question I've got. So because I don't know if you've done your prep work on the last couple of videos, mate. I think you might have watched the same question that I asked for Dom. I asked Lena this as well. She needed time to prepare, bless her. But for this, what's your all-time starting 11?
See, what's happened here is I didn't see the Dom one, but I did see the Lena one, and you've messaged me this. You've given me fair warning, John, and what's happened is I've screwed it up. So let's play this by.
So you haven't done. In other words, you're telling the teacher you haven't done your own work.
Listen, I was very honest in school. I never did any homework, and the teachers knew that, so they didn't bother asking me. Right, here we go. Are you ready for this? Here we go, John. I'm gonna nail it. Goalkeeper. We're playing a 4-4-2. It's in goal. I've decided that now, so I'm sticking to it. I'm only gonna pick play. Right, I'm only gonna pick players I've seen play because there's obviously like the generation before me. There are a lot of bangers, and I can't pick them because I don't fully know. So I'm only gonna pick players I've seen. Numero uno,
I've got to stop you there just for a second because I give you an extra few seconds to think about it because I feel like we're on. I feel like we're on. Then would I lie to you? Darren's made an absolutely good point here, saying I'm fed up with people spamming. If you've got time on your hands, go and donate to a food bank. Jog on, 100%. Right, resuming. So goalkeeper
Robert Green in goal, baller, very very good on his day, unreal. I'm thinking game away against Arsenal, for example, unbeatable,
and also quite a good shot stopper as well, for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. Left back is going to be, I'm going to go left back. I don't know why I've said it out loud. Left back, we're going to say, the temptation is to say George McCartney or Joey O'Brien just because I love them so much as human beings, but that's a big no, innit?
Mate, no, if you want them there, put one of them there.
I'm going to go Cresswell.
I said one of the other two, but go on.
My all-time 11, John. How dare you? Right back, I am saying. Ooh, right back. I'm going to say. Oh, I really liked Lucas Neal. Let's go with Lucas Neal.
Okay.
There are definitely better options, but as we all know, I'm thinking of this on the spot. Centre backs are going to be Rio. I'm going to cheat, even though I saw him very very briefly, but I'm cheating and saying Rio and. Oh, let's make Tim from American Hammers really happy. Let's say Tompkins. I don't know if I fully believe that, but I'm going to make him happy and say it anyway. Centre, then I'll put Rice and Noble. Simple. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to stick Rice and Noble. Scott Parker's close, but I love them too much. Noble and Scott Parker. Ooh, not Rice and Noble. We'll stick to it now. I've said it. Right wing, Yossi Benayoun. Left wing, Joe Cole. Up front, Dean Ashton, Carlton Cole. I know Carlton Cole's not the best, but he's my favourite, and I will never not respect that. And the manager is obviously big Jordan Hugill.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I see that. I understand the reasons for Cole and Ashton because didn't they play together for a little bit of Noble's testimony, if I remember right, didn't they?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
And they did seem to work well together, even though it's just a friendly and a bit of a kickabout and stuff. But yeah, no, that's a good starting 11. I like that.
There's like a lot of big names you're leaving out. You're leaving out your Paolo Di Canios. You're leaving out obviously the legends of West Ham I never saw. Like Paolo I saw, but I've just picked my favourite players. I'm not even going to pretend I haven't. I don't know if that would work, but I've lobbed them in there. Yossi Benayoun and Joe Cole at their prime is very exciting to me.
Agreed, but also at the same point on the attack they will slip into midfield because that's their natural positions. Like for example, when Collinson used to be out on the wing, he'd jump straight into the middle of the first opportunity he got. But
let me lay it down for you, right? Green rolls it out, Rio baller, big long ball, right? Carlton Cole nods it down to one of Yossi or Joe Cole. We've come inside, a little bit of a step over. I don't know what that is, but it's a step over. Apparently, they do a step over. Dean Ashton peels off, pings it in, top bings, big whaps. What I got? Listen, you can't tell me you wouldn't love to see it.
Oh, of course not, mate. It sounds absolutely perfect. It would be absolutely brilliant. And talking of which, mate, it's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you guys. Thank you very much for all your conversations in the chat and the questions you posed. It's good. As I said, guys, this is we're obviously on very very difficult times at the minute. Just respect each other, be there for each other, and just try and be considerate. Without sounding too much like Ringo Starr, it is hard to. But his message has been the same for the last 60 years. We need to be giving each other love the whole time. We need to peace and love. That's what we need in these dark times because it's going to get a lot worse than it already is. Even though we've only got certain places we can go to, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. But guys, thank you very very much for your time. If you've enjoyed the conversation as much as me and Charlie have, then by all means please do click the like button. If you like the channel and you want to see more content, then please do consider subscribing. And if you do hit the subscribe button, thank you very much. It'd be very very nice to get some new people on board. And also please hit the notification bell so you get to know when new content is coming up. New content is coming up tomorrow. We've got AJ back from Kiwi Hammers. He's coming on about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for our time because obviously it's the time differences over in New Zealand. And also I've got a few other people in trying to get lined up for next week as well. Basically I need to just try and focus on something other than bloody working from home all again next week. I'm not looking forward to this. I want to get to, that's the only reason why I want to get back to London as quickly as possible, because I hate working from home. It's a necessary evil at the moment. I'm doing my best to adjust to it. But I can't, if you know, it's going to be hell to do if we're not going back to work next month. It's going to be absolute hell for me. But I'm always trying to organize new content as well. I've got a few other bits and pieces floating about. Guys, if you want me to do any new content coming up, Darren's given me a very, very good few suggestions. I mean, the Clout and Blue video that I did that went up yesterday, that was his suggestion. So, Charlie?
I've got one.
Go on.
You should do a Greg's Haul. I think you should go to Greg's and do a Greg's Haul. Hauls are popular on YouTube. I think you should do it. My Greg's Haul. And then also ask if you can get, the right cheese, because that's important, I feel like.
Well, I'll have a look, and if there's one still open, mate, I'll certainly try and do it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Because I'm shit at vlogging, so I can't. So it'll be interesting to try and get that one out of the way.
Okay.
But guys, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow morning. If not, I will see you very, very soon. You take care of yourselves. We can get through this. Just be there for each other.